What's going on, guys? Birds in the Trap MMA back at it again for my full card predictions for UFC 298. Obviously, it's going down tomorrow. I made a separate breakdown for the main event and the co-main event. I do recommend you check those out. I give some pretty good breakdowns in my opinion. I will still be talking about my picks in this video, just not as in depth. This is mainly for the prelims and the rest of the main card that I wanted to make a separate video for, but we're just going to do it here, all right? So let's start off with the early prelim opener of the night, which is Andrea Lee versus Miranda Maverick. All right, I'm going with Miranda Maverick. Okay, she has some more momentum behind her. 3-1 in her last four, right? Not bad. And has only lost to good competition, right? Like Erin Blanchfield. Who else is on here? Wrong one. Erin Blanchfield, Judah Vicious, Macy Barber. Whereas, when you look at Andrea Lee, I know this isn't the record contest, right? But, 3-loss streak, losses to Lauren Murphy, Roxanne Modafferi, just not the best opponents in the world. So, for that alone, I'm going with Miranda Maverick. Likely a decision, probably unanimous. So, I'm taking the favorite there. All right, next up on the card. Oh, we got the GOAT, Val Woodburn. Okay. Oban Elliott versus Val Woodburn. I would really like to see Val Woodburn win this fight. It would just be funny, and it'd be cool. But he's probably not gonna. All right, Val Woodburn is just, he's like if a bodybuilder became a fighter. You know what I mean? Not the best technique. Sure, he can. I'm sure he can generate some power, but a lot of looping shots, a lot of shit that people can see coming at him. And I'm basically just trusting Oban Elliott to be good enough to not get KO'd, because he likely is a better fighter. It is very interesting, though, that his record is 1-0, and he's coming in to the UFC. So, honestly, I don't think Val Woodburn is a horrible pick here. He's a pretty good underdog. If you want to throw some money on a first-round KO before he gasses out, Val Woodburn would be the guy. All right, now, moving on to the prelims. Okay, Josh Quinlan versus Danny Barlow. Keep it plain and simple. All right, I'm going to be going with Josh Quinlan to get this one done. Danny Barlow, he's making his debut off of the Contender Series. So, not is his record 0-1 too? No, 7-0. Why is it saying 1-0 on here? Whatever. Anyways, Danny Barlow fought on Contender Series. I didn't watch the Contender Series until the end of it. So, just based off what I've seen in the UFC, I'm gonna go with Josh Quinlan. These early year, like the first quarter of the year cards, some of them can be a little hard to break down, especially the Apex ones, because there's a lot of Contender Series guys making their debut, and you just don't really have a lot to go off of. So, just that, I'm going to go off Josh Quinlan. He has the UFC shorts on. Barlow does not. We're going with Quinlan. All right. Very in-depth breakdown. All right, with that being said, we're going to move up to this fight, light heavyweight bout. I think that this fight is going to be pretty good. This should be a pretty good fight. And I think I will be going with Brenson Ribeiro to win this fight. I like how he fights. I've seen a few of his fights on the regional scene when I was researching. Ribeiro showcased great power on his Contender Series fight, whereas Min Yang, he won on the Road to UFC that they do in Asia, I think, or China, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I think that the Contender Series level of competition is a little better than the Road to UFC competition, so just for that, I'm going with Brenson Ribeiro to win this fight via knockout in the second round. Okay, let's put that out there. Rinya Nakamura versus Carlos Vera. This is a total mismatch. This is an awful fight. We're going to be going with Rinya Nakamura to kill this guy. All right, he's going to eliminate him. Rinya Nakamura obviously has fought in the UFC before, and look at this. He's got some wins in the UFC. Oh, some of them are Road to UFC. All right. But, 2 wins in the UFC, coming off a win against Fernie Garcia. He had a KO in the UFC. I like the look of that. Carlos Vera, on the other hand, making his debut. This guy, Carlos Vera, is one of the guys who failed on the latest season of Tough with McGregor versus Chandler. He did not perform well there. Kind of looked like shit. And I believe he took this fight on short notice. There's no way he didn't, because this guy should not be fighting in the UFC if he's not. So, this one's pretty straightforward, guys. The odds reflect it. Rinya Nakamura, yeah, I would say that's a lock for the card. You can't be too certain about anything these days being a lock, but that's a lock. That's a lock. All right, with that being said, Amanda Lemos versus Mackenzie Dern. Okay. Lemos hits like a dude. All right, she does. Mackenzie Dern fights like she has not been training for 10 years. She fights like an amateur. And with that being said, I'm going to be going with Lemos. She has the experience. She has more finishing ability. She's been in there with the champion. She got ragdolled by the champion. And I think since that fight, her number one thing has been takedown defense, grappling defense, things of that nature. Whereas Mackenzie Dern, she likes to get the fight to the ground. She likes to use her jiu-jitsu. And on the feet, Mackenzie Dern is very mediocre. We saw that in her last fight against Jessica Andrade, who also hits like a dude. Jessica Andrade, I mean, how many fucking knockdowns did she get? Let's take a look. 4 knockdowns? 4 knockdowns? Yeah. Lemos is going to win this fight by finish, or a pretty dominant decision. Maybe maybe Dern can steal around, but I think Lemos can get a 10-8 via 2 knockdowns, you know what I mean? And winning on the feet the whole time. So if it goes to a decision, I could see a 30-26 or a 29-27. Yeah, 29-27. But yeah, Lemos is going to win this fight. Power, good on the feet, has been practicing not being taken down and controlled. Dern taking this fight on short notice after getting destroyed. So that is another one that I would consider almost a lock, but it is women's MMA. Okay, it's always a coin flip, so we can never be too sure. And there is a car alarm. Yo, where is DeLima versus Justin Tafa? What the hell? Whatever. Okay. I guess we're going to view this one on this. Is that fight off? What's going on here, guys? Can someone tell me? I don't know why this fight isn't on the website, but I guess we'll break it down here. Marcos Rogerio de Lima, Justin Tafa. De Lima obviously coming off of a pretty bad KO loss to Derek Lewis. Flying knee in the first round, first minute. Justin Tafa coming off a win against Austin Lane. Fought him twice. Also coming off of a GOAT win in Parker Porter. Other than that, kind of a mediocre UFC career, if we're going to be completely honest, okay? He's pretty much lost just as much as he's won. And with that being said, I can't see you losing to Jared Vandeera and, Carlos Felipe and, these type of guys and be super confident that you're going to beat De Lima. De Lima, yes, didn't have a good last fight, but he's been in there with a ton of guys, ton of high-level guys, tons of finishes. Now, yes, he's been finished, but, when I look at his record here, his main problem, De Lima loves to get submitted, right? All of these losses were submissions or a decision until the Derek Lewis one. So I don't want to say his chin is in the dust. Now, he did say that after the Lewis fight, it affected him for a while. He said his teeth were loose. He said his jaw was broken. So that is a little worrying, but based off of experience, based off of De Lima having more ways to win the fight, I think he can take him down. I think he has great calf kicks. Technique, overall skill, I have to go with De Lima. However, Justin Tafa, the boxing is really good, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if Tafa catches him with a shovel uppercut or say just a nice check hook, you know what I mean, in the first round. I think the later this fight goes, it's better for De Lima. So with that being said, I'm going to be picking De Lima in this fight. I think he can get a submission after Tafa wears out. Maybe in the second or third round. But I think I'm going to take De Lima by decision. But like I said, that is a dangerous one. Tafa can win that fight. Alright, moving on. Anthony Hernandez versus Roman Kopylov. This is the sleeper fight of the card. This is an amazing fight. This is the I've seen people calling this the Dark Horse Championship, and it is. All right, these are the two guys in this division that are just on the come up, both on a 4-fight win streak. Both have had some bad losses in their career, but they have clearly gotten better. Of course, Hernandez lost to Kevin Holland early 2020. He lost in like fucking 40 seconds or something like that. But it was a knee to the body from Kevin Holland, and he's gotten better since then. Roman Kopylov, obviously he's been submitted by like Albert Duraev. Not a great look, but he is living in Russia now. He's living in Machkala, and I like that for your grappling. I think his grappling defense will be on point, and Roman Kopylov is a devastating striker. He is, I know he's unproven, but I mean, you could say he's like a top 6 striker in this division, maybe even a top 5 striker in this division, just based off of what we've seen. So I will be going with Roman Kopylov to win this fight. I can see a body kick kind of making Hernandez crumble a little bit, and then, maybe like a uppercut to the chin, dropping him, or just a body shot finish. Roman Kopylov is coming off of a body shot finish against Josh Fremd. His striking looked phenomenal in that fight. I knew it was just a matter of time until he got the finish, and I think we're going to see kind of the same thing here. So I am going with Roman Kopylov. However, Anthony Hernandez does have really good chain wrestling. Hernandez kind of fights like Colby Covington talks. He melts guys. He puts the chain wrestling on guys and is able to get finishes from it. So if Roman Kopylov's takedown defense just completely disappoints me, then Hernandez is going to win this fight. But like I said, Kopylov, leaning towards Kopylov to get the finish in round 2. Okay, moving up on the card, we've got Merab Dvalishvili versus Henry Cejudo. This is my lock of the card, I think. I think Merab is going to Merab Henry Cejudo, all right? Plain and simple. Henry Cejudo, he's getting older and older. He's 37 years old. He's still talking like he's going to win the belt and then go up to 45. Not a chance, little bro. He's going to lose this fight and retire. He already wants to retire if he loses this fight. I don't think you should be going into fights with that mindset. Now, I do also understand that Henry Cejudo is such a competitor, as he would say. But nonetheless, you can't be having that retirement mindset. So I will be picking Merab Dvalishvili to win this fight via 30-27 decision. I think that the wrestling between the two is actually going to be a little close. Now, Henry Cejudo isn't the best grappler in MMA. I don't care what that gold medal says. He got taken down by Aljo 4 times. And that takedown defense, it's good, but he's also older. He's also slower. And let's say Cejudo does get a takedown. What does Cejudo do with his takedowns? He establishes some control time, sure, but, he's not going for submissions, He's not looking to finish the fight. Don't get me wrong, he can. He has sometimes, but I think Merab is going to be ready for everything coming at him. Merab has a chin on him. He's tough as fuck, and he's not 5'4", all right? He's not victim weight. I'm just playing around with that, all right? But I am picking Merab Dvalishvili to put that insane cardio on him. Maybe Cejudo can steal a round off of damage. I do think a majority of this fight will be spent on the feet because Merab doesn't really hold guys down. He just spams takedowns like we saw in the Petr Yan fight. But, it'll be interesting to see Cejudo if he'll be able to get up because Merab is going to shoot probably. You know what? This is my prediction for this fight that isn't even a pick. Merab will shoot at least 30 takedowns and probably get 4 of them. So we'll see what he can do with those 4 takedowns. But this is a good fight. I'm really excited for this fight. I love that this fight is being made. However, Henry Cejudo, I think it's time to pack your bags. You're going home. All right. So yeah, Merab by decision. Yeah, pretty easy. All right, now this one right here, guys. Jeff Neal versus Ian Machado Gary. I've been going very, very back and forth on this one. When this fight first got announced, I was picking Gary. I was picking Gary to just keep the distance, pick him apart at range, show better technique without taking too much risk, and just overall win a unanimous decision, 30-27, 29-28. And then I was picking Jeff Neal, all right, because Ian Gary he's not been dropped besides Song Kanon, but he does get hit a lot, and he is a little chinny. So then I was picking Jeff Neal to get the power, you know what I mean? But then, I went back to Ian Gary. I thought about the range. I thought about the kicks, the calf kicks specifically. And, I was starting to be like, I think Gary's going to get this one. But with all that being said, guys, I flip-flopped 4 times. I'm going to be picking Jeff Neal. All right, Jeff Neal, hands of steel for a reason. He hits insanely hard, can put out anyone if he lands the right shot. Ian Gary, I think his body is deteriorating. I know this is a Lucas Tracy type of thing to say, but I think there is a lot of truth behind it. The vegan diet, you can't be a vegan MMA fighter, all right? Look at someone like Nate Diaz. In his prime, physically a beast, hit a lot harder. In his later UFC fights when he was a vegan, looked like a soy boy, no power, pillow hands. And I think that Gary is just going to start to deteriorate over time. I think this will be the start of it. And it comes down to this, right? Does Ian Gary get hit on his chin often? Yes. Does Jeff Neal drop people a lot when he hits him on the chin? Yes. And it's really as plain as that. I'm going to be going with Jeff Neal to get in on the inside in boxing range. Now, with all of that being said, a weapon that I can see being very effective from Gary is a head kick. I think that the head kick will be there. He is a lot bigger. His leg reach is pretty similar to Jeff Neal's. However, he is very rangy. He fights way more rangy than his reach actually suggests, because he actually has the reach disadvantage. But with all of that being said, I'm going to be picking Jeff Neal to win this fight by KO in the second round. The same prediction Jeff Neal had. Let's hope he gets this done. I don't hate Ian Gary as much as some people do, so I'm not picking this out of just like, oh, fuck Ian Gary. But I am picking this out of, I don't love Ian Gary. He's fumbled his opportunity to be a big star, and he's got a weird family life. All right, that's not why I'm picking against him, but it would be cool to see him lose. But also, if he wins, I'm not going to be like, fuck, Ian Gary won. I'm just going to, it is what it is. All right. Here we are in the co-main event, guys. I made a full breakdown for this fight, so I don't really have too much to say here other than I think that Robert Whittaker is going to win. However, I will say this. Since my last video that I made about this fight, the press conference happened, and Paulo looks locked in. He looks like he's ready for a scrap, right? I think he's expecting a Romero type of fight. And I think that he can use that mindset to his advantage and just be like, you know what? Robert Whittaker, you have pillow hands, bro. I'm getting in on the inside and I'm TKOing you with a body shot, right? So, Paulo Costa, in my last video I said, doesn't have much of a chance. Robert Whittaker, 30-27. However, after seeing the vibe at the press conference, these things matter. You know what I mean? You have to see the vibe. You have to see how they talk to each other. You have to see the stare down. And now that I've seen all of it, I actually think that Costa has a pretty good chance. He seems really motivated in this fight. But with that being said, I am still picking Robert Whittaker. I am trusting him. I'm surprised at how many people commented on that video and said, oh, Costa by KO, Costa by KO. I just think it's a very NPC thing to say. So I am going with Robert Whittaker. Although he looked like shit in his last fight, Costa didn't look great either. And it's been a while. Alright, with that being said, main event, like I said, already made a breakdown for this. I was picking Topuria up until I made my video. And I decided, I hate that they have Fat Volk up here. That sucks. But yeah, I was picking Topuria up until I was making my video, and then I was like, ugh, what am I doing? So, with that being said, the pick is going to be Volkanovski, and I'm going to pick him to win this fight by decision, or 4th round stoppage. 4th round stoppage after Ilya blows his gas out. Ilya said he's going to be throwing every shot to knock him out. And if he doesn't get that KO, he's in for a long night. Ilya said that he had to respect Josh Emmett's power a lot more, so he didn't take as many chances. But he thinks Volkanovski, he can just get in there and fuck him up. I don't exactly agree. I think Volk does hit hard. I just think his technique shines a lot more than his strength. But, I mean, this is a guy who fucked up Max Holloway. No one drops Max Holloway yet. Gaethje will. But, anyways. This is a guy who dropped Islam Makhachev for the first time in his career. Actually, that's a lie. But he dropped Islam Makhachev, you know what I mean? He's shown great power against great opponents. Rocked Yair into another dimension. He turned Yair into a sitting duck just from the finish. So, Volkanovski by decision, 48-47, or 4th round stoppage, or 5th round. But those are the picks, boys. We'll be keeping track of how I do, alright? I think my prediction rate this year, I don't know what my prediction rate this year is, but I'll put it on my Instagram. Follow my Instagram, at Birds in the Trap MMA. Alright, I will see you guys in the next one. Enjoy this card because it's going to hit. And bye.